照明の戦隊や
そりゃどうも。
ここ忘れんなよ。
はい。
さっきからオムライス
そこじゃ
遅い。
Yeah, that's right. So, some people believe that Power Rangers really is better off without Super Sentai. And as much as I am a Power Rangers fan, I am here to tell you that that is 110% completely false. We're going to explain why in a minute. So I came across this video, well, not video. I came across this post on Facebook. Yes, I realized this. I should not be even looking at this, considering the fact that a lot of these takes are from people who are just not well mentally, and they're not looking at the bigger picture here. So Legacy of Nerd, the no shade, no, bad blood against this person for this take, but it is ridiculous. They said, let's be honest, Power Rangers doesn't need Super Sentai to be successful. Now, he had a full explanation for it in the comments. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Okay, so instead of finding the post, I find the video. Apparently, he also made a video. This person, Legacy of Nerd, also made a video regarding to this. So, with all due respect, we're gonna give him some grace and see what he has to say. Hold up, go back. Okay, International Disruptors Toei President and CEO Fumio Yoshimura unpacks Japanese studios' $2 billion global expansion strategy. In Japan, manga artists are highly regarded as usually retain the rights to their creations. So while Toei Animations produces the One Piece anime series, Netflix worked directly with its creator on the live-action series. Likewise, Toei and Saban are not involved in the live-action remake of Power Rangers. Currently in the works of Disney+, Hasbro acquired international rights excluding Asia to the franchise in 2018. However, Toei has an experienced international production and licensing team on hand to help potential partners navigate this complex landscape. Okay.
As the production studio that makes Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, and people have opinions on that. And wow. So we have our Super Sentai periods that are immediately saying like the reboot's going to be a flop, especially because Disney is involved in it, and a lot of people have their opinions on Disney. Although Hasbro is the one that's going to be producing the series, but yeah, like people are there's a good.
I mean, regardless of that, right? That's still not really looking good, considering the fact that Hasbro has really shown that it really doesn't care about this IP much. It doesn't really want to take it serious. So God only knows what they're going to be cooking up in regards to this. Again, I'm not trying to throw negativity or shade or anything like that, but it's just the evidence shows.
Chunk of the fandom that is not happy, although there is a good chunk of them that is like, yes, awesome, we get to see something original, something new. And yeah, that's a really good point that I have to agree with. And when Hasbro bought Power Rangers, it was really apparent that they did not like anyone to have their hands in their pot of something that they paid so much money for. And we got reports very early on that Hasbro was not going to be beholden to Toei or make any further deals with Toei. So yeah, I think that's a really good thing for the Power Rangers brand, for them to go and make a series and not have to worry about, Toei's opinion or thoughts on it, or have to be beholden to footage that already exists. And we are going to get an all full original content for Power Rangers that we really haven't gotten unless it was like the 2017 movie. We really haven't gotten it that much. Even the original movie, they're bringing in the Ninja Zords. They're adapting Kaku Ranger in a certain way, and Cosmic Fury did it a little bit. I think Cosmic Fury was really Hasbro's test on to see how they could maybe work it with it a little bit, because they used like the Zord Sentai footage for that, but they had original suits. They weren't really like going to buy any Sentai storyline, which in the past, Power Rangers has sometimes completely adapted a Super Sentai storyline because, they were so limited by what they had to work with. So, and I know a lot of people are already saying, well, that means they can't use the suits, designs, concepts, and they have to make original concepts, designs, and Zords and suits and stuff like that. And yeah, they may very well want to do that, but they don't have to. They can use the concepts and designs of any Power Rangers show that they own because they own it. That's the deal. Like they have it. They bought the Power Rangers brand, and a lot of people are like, yes, it started in Super Sentai, but that is the deal that they have with Toei. Like, and we don't know the exact details of the deal that they have with Super Sentai, but I can almost imagine that Hasbro owns the right to use the concepts, designs, suits, Zords, and all that stuff in American, international, European markets, that they just don't have the right to use it in Japan. So I'm assuming they can use it in China, Europe, America, Canada, like all the above, right? And they have the rights to use it there. And they paid for that. And they paid handsomely for that, right? And that all started under the Saban deal. And I've seen a lot of things before where we have heard that Toei has stopped things from happening in Power Rangers because either like they wanted approval, or I know like there was a possible animated series that they were not happy about. And we've heard those things before. Now, the deals that they had originally with Saban were always updated, right? And even with Hasbro, up to a certain point, they were updating deals. So this all started with Mighty Morphin and using the Jew Ranger footage. Like he knew that they ran out of footage and they needed to start using the Die Ranger footage for the Zord fights. So that he went back and made a deal to include those. So where Toei had the leverage before was that they could say no to something because they knew that Saban or Disney was going to have to come back and renegotiate for the new season. So they had a new season of Power Rangers coming up. But they're not doing that anymore. And Hasbro kind of came out in 2020 and said like, there were reports in 2020 that Hasbro was saying that they weren't going to renew their deals with Toei. And we kind of saw that in Super Sentai, especially like with Dawn Brothers. That is something that would never translate well to American audiences. It might be a great season. I've never watched it. I'm sure a lot of people with Super Sentai love that season, but looking at it aesthetically, that is not something I think that would work well in the American market. And I think before then, Toei had been making Super Sentai series that they think that would translate well to American audiences, right? So like Wild Force, Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, all those designs were kind of thought with American audiences in mind. But when Hasbro kind of started in 2020 taking over everything, actually they took over in 2018, but in 2020 is when we started hearing that they weren't going to work with Toei anymore. We started to see a shift into the Super Sentai designs either. Like also, we saw, Dawn Brothers as an example, Zenkaiser, Boom Boomger just as recently. I don't think these things would translate well to American audiences. Kira Major, maybe, I don't know. The only one I kind of seen that would translate was King Oger, but even then, I don't know. I don't know how well it would translate to American audiences as well with that.
Yeah, see, okay. See, now here's the thing about that. And you know what? I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna leave it at that because I just wanted to hear what he had to say in regards to Power Rangers, regarding that fact, and regarding anything else. I just wanted to hear it, right? Here's the thing about this, though. Here's the thing about this. Yes, Hasbro bought the rights to Power Rangers, right? So that means anything that they have adapted from the Super Sentai they can use because it's literally been branded as that. If they want to use Lightspeed Rescue, they can. If they want to use Dino Thunder, they can. If they want to use Wild Force, they can. If they want to use Ninja Storm, they can. If they want to use Power Rangers in Space, they can. If they want to use Lost Galaxy, they can. That is not what the issue is. The issue that everyone is having is the fact that despite all of that and the amounts of good things that could possibly come from this, right? Hasbro has proven that they have no interest in turning back the clock. Unless it regards to Mighty Morphin. And that is the reason why I am saying that we can sit here and say Power Rangers doesn't need Super Sentai, but if you're not even going to focus on what was Power Rangers beyond Mighty Morphin and wishing to not use anything that the Super Sentai that Toei has created in regards to the Super Sentai, what do y'all have left? What do we have left? If we're really about wanting to make Power Rangers better, and we're all about wanting to see Power Rangers succeed and be the actual juggernaut that it should be, we cannot keep harping on Mighty Morphin. And I get it. Another person has stated this in their post on Twitter. And Urban Ninja had told me about it. They were saying that like they were trying to make Mighty Morphin be the center, be the poster child, which it should, because that's where it started. But there is more to Power Rangers than just Mighty Morphin. Meaning, Power Rangers should not have ended after Cosmic Fury and Once and For All, and Once and Always. We all know that they have the rights to these other teams, these Power Ranger teams. But if they're not using it, and they just want to turn back the clock to Mighty Morphin and stick with Mighty Morphin, then that's where Power Rangers is lost. Because there are plenty of people among the Sakurai clan who talk nonstop about Wild Force, who talk nonstop about Dino Thunder, who talk nonstop about Dino Charge, Ninja Steel, RPM, SPD. They talk nonstop about these other. I rarely do I ever really see. I still get them, but rarely do I ever really see anyone really talking about Mighty Morphin in my comments. It's always concerning the teams afterwards. Because yes, while Mighty Morphin is the GOAT, right? It's people that everyone remembers and acknowledges, right? The only reason why that even is a thing is because they're only wanting to focus on that one team. Meanwhile, there's like so many other goated teams that we can do something with, rather than just have them being their story continue and only in the comics. And while the comics are being fire right now, with including VR Troopers, hoping to God they include Big Bad Beetleborgs, that shouldn't be where the progress just happens at. Because if that's the case, and we're literally only going back to just the first Power team, then we literally can't seem to do or have or go or get out of this tunnel vision that we have been put in regards to Power Rangers. Now that I've said that, let's look at this. So, Board's meme system, he had said, "This shit is exactly why I hate the PR fandom. PR keeps on promoting LGBT stuff in their comics and shows with barely any original ideas that worked. If they don't need Super Sentai to work, then why do they still use original Sentai footages and designs? They're still living in the shadows of Super Sentai. While I do like the Power Rangers original stuff itself, like Battleizer, original Rangers like the Titanium Ranger and Spirit Ranger, let's be honest, it won't succeed without Sentai guidance. They even managed to mess up good Sentai seasons like Shinkenger and Gokaiger into trashes like Samurai and Megaforce. It is shit like this that makes people despise Power Ranger fans. And I liked it because it's true. He has a point. I'll tell you why he has a point. It's like he just said. You got good stuff like the Battleizer. You got good stuff like the Titanium Ranger, the Spirit Ranger. You got good stuff like that. But we are not going to sit here and just say that Power Rangers is doing their big one with this. Because we already know what direction they're heading. While Cosmic Fury wasn't a bad idea, the suits sucked. The suits could have been better than that. Was it a very nice concept? Yes. But if you're going to use the Sentai footage for the Zords, you could have easily gotten the most easiest suits from that Sentai and just put it on them. You could have done that. But you chose to tie it into Mighty Morphin once again. And that's what I'm saying. We can't go nowhere without Mighty Morphin. We can't do none of the projects beyond Mighty Morphin. Meanwhile, you have all these great other actors that are still living that could easily be brought back. Andros, Carter, TJ, Jack from SPD. We can use these people, but we're choosing not to. And that has to be the biggest L in the world. But people are saying that Power Rangers can do without Super Sentai. How? When literally currently we get stuff like this. We get stuff like this. Now, mind you, this is the Sentai version of the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger. This is Zyuranger. Why do I tie into this? Because Gozuja, the Super Sentai, didn't even need to include this character. But in my honest opinion, and this is just an opinion, it's not a fact, but I honestly and strongly believe that they did this to send a message that, yeah, y'all can do stuff without us, but you don't have the drive and the great ideas to make this stuff actually work and be on point. Mind you, this Ranger here is not even of the original Zyuranger. It's literally a random person who is studying Super Sentai in this episode where he's debuting and he's trying to get the other Rangers to team up. The current Sentai Rangers to team up. They could have easily put in any other Sentai Ranger, but they chose to include the Red Tyranno Ranger, the Red Zyuranger Sentai member. And you know people took crazy reactions to this because holy crap. When he got shot in the back, from Garudo, the ring hunter, that sent a message to everybody. Not to mention, they didn't even need to include the Robo, but they did it. They included the Robo with a cloak, and it was honestly the most badass thing ever. But are we going to see Power Rangers do that? No. Why? Because they are on this mission to do without Super Sentai, to make content without Super Sentai. And while the fact that they can do that, is it going to be good? Probably not. Because their creativity, as far as Power Rangers, has been proven to be limited. Whereas in the next episode, we're going to get this. And yes, this is me tweeting this. Power Rangers can't survive without Super Sentai. We'll take a look at this. Super Sentai beat Power Rangers to the punch again. Mighty Morphin who? They didn't even need to include this in the next episode. Why he's now black, I don't know. But I need you to understand and hear me very clearly. What you saw right there was always a collector's item in Power Rangers. Super Sentai, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think I've ever seen them make a black version of that Robo. For Super Sentai, at least. I've only ever seen it for Power Rangers, for Mighty Morphin. It was always just a special edition collector's item. Whether it had been from Hasbro, I think Bandai did it once, and some Chinese knockoff where it's like this dark version of the Megazord, of the Dino Megazord. And then out of nowhere, I see this. And yes, I retweeted this as well, because now not only are they bringing this back, right? But now you can use this to combine with the other Sentai Robos. For those of you who don't see this, this is Wild Force. This is Gao Ranger. Now the other one is Gokaiger. Super Mega Force. You can see it. You can actually combine it with this Zord. Well, Robo. And you see it. The Gokaiger one. You see it. You clearly see it. Similarities and everything. And this looks so good. Again, they did not need to do this. They did not need to do this. And then I see this. So you're telling me that outside of the Tokuja Robo, this is combined with RPM Zord, Super Mega Force Zord, the original Dino Megazord, and Wild Forces Megazord. And the reason why I'm putting those Power Ranger names out there so that y'all can understand what y'all looking at. That's what you see. That's what this black, the black Daizujin, the black Dino Megazord can combine with. And yes, guess what else it can combine with? Hold on. Wait a minute. Give me 1 second. It can combine with this. It can combine with that. So here's what I'm saying. Yes, we can sit here and say that Power Rangers can do without Super Sentai, but to that I say, to what extent? If they have no plans of using previous teams and expanding their story outside of the comics, what does Power Rangers have left? If they only want to focus and make Mighty Morphin be the poster child of the brand, and that's it, what do we have left? What else really is there? If they recast the entire team, I'm going to be surprised. I really am. If they make an animation, sadly, that'll be the best thing they could possibly do. Will it? Honestly, I'm up in there on that. I don't know whether it's going to do good for the fans or whether people are going to like it. All I know is that saying that is not good on paper. Saying that Power Rangers can survive without Super Sentai is actually not good on paper at all. Because now you see Super Sentai actually doing something with previous Sentai teams. Not that they didn't do that before, because they did. But now it's definitely prominent. And it's not just Super Sentai either. Kamen Rider's doing the same thing. And they have been doing it for a very long time. I mean, they came up with it. Why couldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Heck, they didn't even need to do this. They're making what I honestly want to believe an anniversary special for the very first Sentai team. And possibly a brand new Robo, their very first one. They didn't even need to do that. They didn't need to do that. But they doing it. Yeah, sure. Power Rangers can do things without Super Sentai. It can. But Super Sentai can definitely do without Power Rangers. And I honestly hope the shade keeps coming. I honestly hope that. Yes, and well, Rhea, why you sound like that? I'm still having forgiven Power Rangers, the people who wrote Super Mega Force, after they did what they did with the Sentai Rangers and just included them without even a fraction of an explanation as to why they even exist. And the only way that I could have found that out was from a Wikipedia page. Are you serious? We'll see what happens. I'm just gonna say this now. I will see what happens. Because for the life of me, there's a reason why I'm sticking with Super Sentai and I'm pushing it hard. It's because and just Tokusatsu period, because they're giving you content where Power Rangers is willing to stay stagnant in the same spot that they've chosen to be in. And that's not me stating an opinion at this moment. It is stating a fact. I have literally been a fan of this my entire life, just like all of you. And while I love Power Rangers, I'm not taking that away from Power Rangers. I wouldn't have bought this if I didn't love Power Rangers. But they definitely do got to figure out what they want to do with it. I'll just say that. They can do it. They just got to figure out exactly if they want to make money or do they just want to stay stagnant. That's all I got to say. Y'all let me know in the comments down below how y'all feel about this. Till then, this has been Master Sakurai. I'll see y'all again next time. I'm out. Peace.